has always been an evil place. Today, though, the world has become intensely evil because of the social media, because of the change in people's hunger. You know, when I got saved in the early 70s, it was a whole different world then. And I worry about my children. I worry about my grandchildren especially. What kind of world will they have? But the message of Calvary is the only answer to the future. And when we talk about Calvary and the cross, most people probably don't realize what I mean. The cross is a daily experience with us, daily experience, where our will must submit to the will of God. What we want in life is not important. It's what the Lord wants in life. And often, His will and our will cross each other. And what God is asking of us can be very difficult. But not if we love Him. Nothing then is difficult. What we have got to be so careful with, Archbishop, is we cannot allow the world to pollute our hearts at all.
Yeah.
We have to detach ourselves. We
can't conform.
We can never conform to the world.
Transform.
Yeah. So it's an ongoing daily battle. So when I started as a Christian, that was the message I heard from the greats, all the greats. The first person I ever heard minister was Lord Cunningham. Lord Cunningham is still alive today, Youth with a Mission. I just saw him, in fact, a few weeks ago. And I still remember his message. The first message I ever heard was on a Thursday night, February 17, 1972, in Toronto, Canada, at St. Paul's Cathedral. And he spoke about how he had just bought a ship for YWAM. And all he could think about and see is the ship, the ship, the ship. And Jesus was disappearing and the ship was becoming more visible. And that man began to cry on the, as he was speaking. I had never seen that with anyone. That was the first time I actually ever heard a man preach, because I came from a Greek Orthodox Catholic background. We never heard anyone preach. They all chanted the gospel and, you know, all the liturgy and all that didn't mean anything. So after that, all the voices we heard, there was a great move of God called the Catacombs in Toronto with the Watsons, Merla Watson and Merv Watson. She wrote the song Jehovah Jireh and others. And all the speakers they would have. They had Richard Rembrandt. You know the name Richard Rembrandt, who was a mighty saint of God. I will never forget looking at that man's face shining when he was ministering, talking about how he suffered in Siberia when the Soviet soldiers put he and a friend of his in a pit in winter, naked, for 3 weeks, wanting to kill them, and how they lowered their bodies into this pit in Siberia and put nails in the pit, so if they would lean, the nails would go in their body, and no food, no water, no warmth for 3 weeks. And the soldiers would come and mock them, and they could not kill them. Finally, when they took them out, not one of them was hungry. Not one of them was cold. They could not kill them. Oh yeah, this is an amazing thing. And imagine being exposed to that message. And then dear Corrie ten Boom, who I met, I danced with Corrie ten Boom. Can you believe it? I went to her home and danced with her. I became friends with her nephew, Danilo. And we were in her garden, and some of us kids danced with her. I was one of them. And she grabbed my cheek. She said, "Where did you get this face?" I said, Israel. She said, Shalom. And that precious lady, I don't even know if people know who Corrie ten Boom is.
No.
But Corrie ten Boom,
Tell us.
one of the greatest saints that ever lived, Billy Graham did a story on her life called The Hiding Place. She went to the concentration camp when she lived in Holland for hiding Jews in their home. And what a mighty saint of God. And she would always preach about suffering, about the cross. And one of the greatest things I ever heard her say, no pit is so deep that Jesus is not deeper still.
Wow.
No pit is so deep that Jesus is not deeper still.
Well, don't go away. We will come back.
You know, a guy gets on TV not long ago who wrote a book. This is a preacher I'm talking about. Wrote a book. Not one mention of Jesus in the book. Not one mention of the name of the Lord in the book. The interviewer, who was a secular guy, looks at the preacher and says, Reverend, whatever they call them, not one mention of the Lord's name, Jesus. Now this guy who was talking to him was an unbeliever, asking a preacher, not one mention of Jesus. I heard it with my own ears. No one had to tell me. Does through the Sisterhood of Mary, they're called, in Darmstadt. And the same thing we heard from so many in those days. I mean, Catherine Kuhlman, that's all she would talk about. But not just these women. A lot of men preached it. David Duplessis' message was forgiveness. He would cry and beg people to forgive. That's the cross. Look at Billy Graham. What did he preach? But the cross. And he shook the world. So the message of the cross simply is the message of surrender to the Lord. Complete yieldedness to the Lord. You know, the Christian faith does not say try or try again. When it comes to our walk, God did not say to us, try to live it. He said yield. The word in the Bible is not try or try again or struggle. It's yield, surrender. That's the message of Calvary, that we surrender. It says yield your bodies, surrender your life, surrender to the Lord. Today we don't hear that. What we hear today is how you can make it. You, it's always the you. It's always pointing to the man or to the lady. You can make it. God is with you. I sat and heard a very famous preacher not long ago. I forced myself to watch him. I forced myself because I don't like watching that stuff. I said, okay, I'm going to listen to what this man has to say. It was a message of hope. It was a message that was needed if I was going through a lawsuit. If I was going through a divorce, I could use it. If I had some problem, I could use it. But it lacked a great foundation.
Okay.
Not one time did he say, turn to Jesus. It was inspirational, motivational. It helped you feel good about yourself. Yes, it did. But I thought to myself, if somebody was in prison, that would not do him one thing. 50,000 Christians today in North Korea are in labor camps. That message doesn't work with them. 239 million people today in the world, Christian people, are under persecution. That message means nothing to them. God is with you. You can make it. You can make it. You can make it. And they're killing them. See? So that message of hope today is taking over America. It's a feel-good message. It's a self-help message. It's not a gospel message. our children are going to collapse when persecution hits. Because persecution is coming.
Yeah.
As surely as I'm sitting here talking to you, persecution will come to the West. It's already come to many, many parts of the world. You have no idea what I heard from David Curry. David Curry has become my friend. He's the president of Open Doors that help people who are being persecuted. And I talked to him not long ago when he told me how many Christians are killed every year. Every year. And they die, a lot of them in the Muslim world and other parts of the world. They die with such joy. And the children of these martyrs forgive the killers of their parents. That's the cross. Nobody with the message of feel good, do good will help those people. They are suffering beyond belief in parts of Nigeria, in India, in Pakistan, in Somalia, in North Korea, in Iran. Yet the church is thriving. Today, Iran has the largest church. The largest church in the Muslim world today is in Iran. That's a fact. There's more Christians today in Iran than any Muslim nation on earth, with all the persecution. They're not listening to these American preachers telling them feel good, do good, all the self messages. It's all about Jesus. It's all about turning to the Lord, the lover of your soul, the one who's altogether lovely. When you see Jesus, none of these things will affect you. So the cross, the blessed message of the cross is given to us in Matthew, in Mark, in Luke, in John, in all the epistles, in fact, throughout the Bible, even the Old Covenant. Because what God spoke so powerfully through Paul the Apostle, he said, I put my body under subjection to the will of God, lest after I have preached to others, I be cast away. You think about the Lord whom we adore. If any man will come after me, let him deny himself. Deny yourself is not a message anyone is talking about today. Deny yourself means very simple. Jesus must be first. Jesus must be all in all.
Pastor Benny, you said something yesterday when you were speaking about the dream you had.
Yes.
And it really scared a lot of people.
Good. I wanted it to scare people.
It did. And I started really thinking, can you explain, especially when it came to your time, what Jesus did?
When I came out of the hospital in 2015, I had a congestive heart failure. And the Lord saved my life, no doubt. And I had a dream right after that. And in my dream, I saw myself standing with a group of people, all dressed in white in a straight line. And I saw the Lord standing to the right of this beautiful wide gate that sparkled like diamonds. And on the other side of this massive gate, I saw a lady whom I had known named Jeannie Clattenburg from Orlando that had passed away years ago with cancer. And she was a great organist, and she was sitting on the organ. And then I saw the Lord do this to the first person who was in line, and she played this beautiful number, crescendo, beautiful. And the gate opened, and that person went in, and then the gate shut, and then the Lord did this again, and the gate opened with the beautiful music. And then along the way he did this. He didn't speak, he just did this. And she played this frightening sound came out of the organ. And two massive men dressed in white, who I suppose were angels. No one told me who they were, but I'm just supposing they were. They came and they took this person out of the line, and the fear on their face was beyond description, the fear that hit them. And then the next person went and so forth. And then my time came to stand there. So I'm standing in line, and I'm now the first one. And I was looking at the Lord, and I can feel the moment just even talking to you right now. literally. And was he going to do this or was he going to do that? And he did not, but he didn't do any. I woke up. And when I woke up, I heard his voice as clear as you're hearing mine. He said, I'm watching you. Do not blow it. It was very firm. It was a frightening moment for me. So I believe that I was on the edge. No doubt there was something in my life that was not pleasing to the Lord. You know, we preachers become very involved in the hurrah, hurrah, hurrah of the ministry. We become very involved in the growth, the money, the fame, the whatever you want to call it. And we focus on the crowds. We focus on the money. Yet we've lost at that time his trust.
Pastor Benny, the message of grace,
yes,
it's so very critical. But I wanted to hear from you and to let our viewers hear from you, because it is believed that once saved, forever saved.
No.
So you can live any life you want to
No.
live. But with what you just said and your dream and the revelation, and with what Paul said, and the fact that the Bible says that everyone that has this hope in him purifies himself,
Absolutely,
even as he is pure. How do you relate that to the message of grace,
well, how
and
can,
just living anyhow, anyway, and making it and going to heaven?
Yeah, think about Paul the Apostle. If I do not put my body under subjection, I would be a castaway. That kills the whole message right there of that free grace, they call it. Huh? Mm-hmm. It's not in the Bible. He that endures unto the end shall be saved. So our salvation is a continual walk with God closely. The message today that people are wanting is a free lunch, hamburger style, fast, nobody wants to work for it. Mm-hmm. You know, give it to me, it's mine. No, no, no. The gospel, Jesus made it very clear. It's a narrow way that very few will find. It's a narrow road. It's not a wide road. So today they're preaching the wide road, sadly. Let's go back to what Jesus said. And the Lord was very clear on the message. If you love father, mother, brother, sister, son, daughter, more than me, you're not worthy. Now that means we forsake all, including family, to follow him. When God calls us, whether to be his children or whether to be in ministry, we must forsake everything, period. We walk away. Think about the apostles, what they walked away from. Franklin Graham, a few weeks ago, preached a fabulous message on surrender.
Graham?
Yeah, Franklin. How when the apostles and the disciples were fishing all night long and caught nothing, and then the Lord said, now let's launch into the deep. Lord, at your word, we'll do it. And they caught all that fish. And then when they came to shore, they all followed him. Not one of them said, let's go sell the fish we caught. They left all the fish behind. Think about all the money that they walked away from.
Wow, I
Total,
never thought about that.
Yeah, total surrender. When you follow Jesus, you leave the business behind. Now they could have easily said, well, now Lord, just a minute now. Let's make a little money here and sell all this fish that you helped us catch.
Yes, huge harvest.
Not one word about that. It says they forsook all, including the fish that filled many boats, not just one.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
And followed. Well, that was Franklin Graham. That was not Benny Hinn talking about that. I was so blessed by that. They forsook their families. They forsook their business, everything. Today, that doesn't happen. One young man working with me, he was with me for a year. His parents convinced him to go back to school and be a doctor. I thought, you poor soul, you just left a treasure to go to be a doctor. Go. But such people will never be trusted in heaven. Because the Lord said it very clearly. If you put your hand to the plow, look back, you're not fit. Yeah. And you're not fit means forever not to be trusted. So the key is quite simple. Do you love Jesus enough to be detached from the world, to not allow the world into your heart, into your system, to cut it off completely, and with everything that represents it, including watching television. I don't watch TV. I don't even want it. I choose what I want to see. Yes, I do have a TV set, so I can watch a Christian movie that I choose to watch. But I never watch anything in my home.
So Pastor Benny, that is heavy.
Well, because look, I'm not asking people to pay the price I'm paying.
Yeah.
I just do not want to get to heaven and be rejected, to be simple with you. I am scared to death, if you want me to be blunt, of being rejected. If Paul the Apostle would say, I put my body under subjection, I wrestle it down, that I might not be a castaway. Who do I think I am?
Yeah.
If Paul said that, who do I think I am? So the Christian life demands absolute forsaking of the world and all it offers.
Love not the world, nor the things that are
Not,
in this world.
nothing in the world are we to even look at and desire. And today, what is the devil throwing at us? The world,
everything
through
of
the
the world.
internet, social media, TV, magazines, books, and now sadly preachers. You know, a guy gets on TV not long ago who wrote a book. This is a preacher I'm talking about. Wrote a book. Not one mention of Jesus in the book. Not one mention of the name of the Lord in the book. The interviewer, who was a secular guy, looks at the preacher and says, Reverend, whatever he called him, not one mention of the Lord's name, Jesus. Now this guy who was talking to him was an unbeliever, asking a preacher, not one mention of Jesus. I heard it with my own ears. No one had to tell me. And I didn't see it on TV. I saw it on my phone. It's on YouTube.
So Pastor
And the
Benny,
preacher said, it's not my calling.
it's not his calling.
That's what he said to the guy. It's not my calling. I could not believe I was hearing it. It's not his calling? Then are you a preacher to make money? That's all the conclusion I can come up with. It's selling books. It's money. It's fame. It's not Jesus. Pastor, we have a real problem today.
Yeah, we do.
A big problem. Jesus